Hello everyone, welcome to Bhartiya Upsc. So today we are going to cover fundamental rights. Now you guys must be wondering that what is this golden triangle and why only these three articles are written over here. So article 14, 19 and 20 are called golden triangle when they are combined. Golden triangle. These are very important articles of our constitution and particularly among the fundamental rights. Because if we remove all fundamental rights between Article 12 and 35 but keep only these three 14, 19 and 21, then all the other fundamental rights can be derived from these three only. All the other fundamental rights between Article 12 and 35 can be derived from these three articles. That's why they are called golden triangle, and this is the golden triangle rule. Now what these three articles say? In Article 14 it provides for equality before the law or equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. Article 19, protection of rights related to freedom of speech, expression, assembly, association, movement, residence, trade and occupation. And Article 21 over here is guarantees the protection of life and personal liberty to every individual. So we'll start from Article 14. If you see here, right to equality comes under Article 14 to 18. Now we'll start from Article 14, which is equality before law and equal protection of laws. So if we go by the exact definition written in our constitution, so Article 14 says that state shall not deny to any person equality before law, equal protection of laws within the territory of India. Now equality before law as provided in Article 14 of our constitution provides that no one is above the law of the land. And third is rule of law is automatically inferred from Article 14. So Article 14 aims to establish the equality of status and opportunity as embodied in our preamble of Constitution. If you see Article 14, three things are highlighted over here. Now Article 14 contains these three prominent things, and we'll cover these three things in detail to understand the Article 14 in detail, which is equality before law, equal protection of law and rule of law. तो इन तीन चीज़ों को मिलाकर आर्टिकल 14 हमारा पूरा बनता है. हम डिटेल में इन तीन चीज़ों को पढ़ेंगे ताकि आर्टिकल 14 हमें डिटेल एग्जैक्टली समझ आ जाए प्रीलिम्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से और मेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. So we'll start from first, equality before law. What is this? See, it is of British origin and mainly practiced in England. If we go by the meaning, it is everyone is equal in the eyes of law. Everyone is equal in the eyes of law. Example, for example, a rich committed a crime or a poor committed a crime. For both, the punishment is the same. This is called everyone is equal in the eyes of law and equality before law. No discrimination, rich and poor, everyone is same in the eyes of law. It is a negative concept because there is no discrimination and no one will get special provision under this heading. So equality before law, you can see here everyone is equal in the eyes of law. Now we move to second, which is equal protection of laws. See, equal protection of law, it is of USA origin and mainly practiced in USA. And if we go by the meaning, it is equal effect of law. Now what it means, we'll understand. It means, now consider a situation. एक वेल साउंड एजुकेटेड आदमी गन से किसी का मर्डर कर देता है, तो उसको क्या पनिशमेंट मिलेगी? एक ये सिनेरियो है. दूसरी और सिनेरियो है कि एक छोटा बच्चा 6 से 8 साल का या 10 साल का गन से उठा के मर्डर कर देता है. तो क्या अब इस केस में जो हमारा लॉ है या जो पनिशमेंट है वो सेम रहेगी? एब्सोल्युटली नॉट. सो दिस मीन्स इक्वल इफेक्ट ऑफ लॉस. पनिशमेंट तो रहेगी, प्रोसीजर तो जो एस्टेब्लिश किया हुआ है लॉ का वो होगा, पर इक्वल इफेक्ट होगा लॉ का। इट मीन्स जो एजुकेटेड और जो मैच्योर और साउंड माइंड है उसको तो इक्वल इफेक्ट और पनिशमेंट मिलेगी जो लॉ के अंदर लिखा हुआ है, पर जो बेबी है या जुवेनाइल है उनके लिए बने हुए हैं जुवेनाइल एक्ट और जुवेनाइल कोर्ट्स और शेल्टर कोर्ट्स। तो इट मीन्स उनके ऊपर जो लॉ है वो अलग तरीके से इफेक्ट करेगा। सो इक्वल इफेक्ट ऑफ लॉ। नाउ दिस कंसेप्ट इज कॉल्ड पॉजिटिव कंसेप्ट। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अब जंगल में रेस होती है और रेस होती है चीता और एलिफेंट के बीच में, तो क्या ये जायज़ होगा कि दोनों को एक लाइन से ही भगाया जाए? नहीं ना। So that's why it is a positive concept in which some reasonable discrimination is allowed. आर्टिकल हमने 14 के इक्वालिटी बिफोर लॉ में पढ़ा कि नो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इज अलाउड, वेयर एज इन दिस some reasonable discrimination is allowed, which means that some people will get special provision। और यहाँ से हम इन्फर्ट कर सकते हैं रिजर्वेशन और कोटा बेस्ड, जो हम आर्टिकल 16 में डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे। So equal protection of laws means it is of USA origin, meaning equal effect of the law. Positive, it is a positive concept and some reasonable discrimination is allowed. So if we see this image, very famous image you must have seen on social media, this subsumed the idea of equal protection of laws. You can see here, it is equality before law and it is equal protection of laws. And in India, we use both the concept which is equality before law and equal protection of law, and it is used by case to case. We have left it to judiciary. The judiciary itself interpreted it according to case and use both the terminology or the concept in India, in Indian law system. Equality before law is also used and equal protection of law is also used. This is UK based and this is USA based, and we have subsumed both. Now we shall move to our third topic, which is rule of law itself under the article 14. What is rule of law? So rule of law is AC DICEY's concept, which is UK origin. It has three features. Number one, supremacy of law, means lex is rex, which means that law is the king of kings, that law is supreme and nobody is above law. For example, now consider this hypothetical situation. कल मोदी जी आते हैं टीवी पर और आके बोलते हैं कि हमने डिसाइड कर लिया है कि आज के बाद इलेक्शन पूरे 50 साल के बाद होगा, और एग्जीक्यूटिव का भी यही मानना है और लेजिस्लेचर का भी यही मानना है, मींस पार्लियामेंट का भी यही मानना है, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी इसको अनुमति दे दी है कि अब से इलेक्शन 50 साल के बाद हेल्ड करेंगे हम। तो क्या ये पॉसिबल होगा? जी नहीं, बिकॉज इन इंडिया वी फॉलो द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन विच इज़ सुप्रीम, विच इज़ लॉ ऑफ द लैंड, विच इज़ फंडामेंटल लॉ ऑफ द लैंड. So there is supremacy of law. That's why there is checks and balances between different organs. Second, equality before law is the second feature of rule of law, which means that all manner of people, rich, poor, equally subject to law as administrated through ordinary courts. It means कि ऐसा नहीं है कि रिच के लिए अलग कोर्ट्स बने हुए हैं, पुअर के लिए अलग कोर्ट्स बने हुए हैं. जब भी दोनों में कोई कोर्ट केस अगर होगा तो उसी कोर्ट में जाना पड़ेगा. So equality, everyone is equal in the eyes of law. Now the third feature is primacy of rights. Now this feature we do not follow in India. What is this? It means that constitution is result of the rights of individual. Now it is not applicable in India because in Indian system constitution is the source of individual rights, not a result of individual rights. So except this feature, we use rule of law in our Indian system, and our Indian system is primarily based on the DICEY's rule of law. Our legal system is primarily based on DICEY's rule of law, and Supreme Court also said that rule of law under Article 14 is a basic structure of constitution. So we have studied equality before law, equal protection of law, and rule of law, which is this. Now there are some exceptions under Article 14. Exceptions, we'll study some exception. For example, number one exception is under Article 361, which says President and Governor enjoy some following immunities. There are some immunities. For example, that no criminal and civil proceedings will be held during their term, whether they commit any crime. So कोई भी criminal और civil, even civil proceedings कहीं भी held नहीं होगी. And second is no arrest during term, चाहे वो क्रिमिनल केस हो या सिविल केस हो. फॉर एग्जांपल एक गवर्नर के ऊपर केस चल रहा है मर्डर का, ही हैज़ कमिटेड अ मर्डर. गवर्नर बनने से पहले, वो जैसे ही गवर्नर बन जाता है, तो अगर वो 5 साल के लिए गवर्नर रहता है तो 5 साल तक उसकी अरेस्ट नहीं हो सकती, कोई भी क्रिमिनल प्रोसीडिंग्स नहीं हो सकती, नथिंग. तो दिस इज द एक्सेप्शन ऑफ इक्वालिटी. नाउ देयर आर सम क्रिटिसिजम्स फॉर दिस immunity or special provisions. For example, we could say that it is a mindless imitation from England. As you all know that most of the Indian legal system derived from England, so we can say that it is a mindless imitation. Second, now in England जो courts है, they are the creation of crowns, but India courts are the creation of constitution. Means constitution is the fundamental law of the land and no one is above the constitution. So these kind of immunities may subject to some criticism. Third, now this provision can be abused. How? As you all know that governor is appointed by the central government. So there can be a event or chance arised where some political ambitious people try to take shelter under the banner of governorship. For example, किसी पॉलिटिशियन ने काफ़ी उनके ऊपर क्रिमिनल केस चल रहे हैं, तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि गवर्नमेंट उनको गवर्नर बनाकर उसको 5 साल के लिए इम्यूनिटी दे सकती है. हाइपोथेटिकली दिस कैन बी एब्यूज्ड. नाउ कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग सिचुएशन कि अगर आज फॉर एग्जांपल ये प्रोविज़न कभी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में होता ही ना, तो क्या हम आज इन प्रोविजंस को ऐड कर सकते थे? नहीं ना. आज क्रिटिसिज्म होता तो कैन यू पुट दिस टुडे? नो. सो दीज आर सम काइंड ऑफ criticism. Now the second exception is available to our parliamentarians and state legislature privileges under article 105 and 194 of constitution. Now what kind of privileges are these? The same criminal and civil proceedings, no arrest, this kind of state has given privileges to parliamentarians. Third is diplomatic immunities. You must have heard जो भी एम्बेसडर्स हैं, यूएन के ऑफिशियल्स हैं, उनको डिप्लोमेटिक इम्यूनिटीज़ है. And fourth is Article 31C is also an exception to Article 14, which is in which, see, under Article 31 is state made some laws to implement directive principle of state policy. Under Article 39B and C, there are some directive principles under Article 39B and C for welfare, which require some special provisions. Now they cannot be challenged under Article 14. What Article 14 says? Article 14 says right to equality. So they cannot be challenged in court on the grounds that they violate Article 14. Now it is written in Article 31C. So Supreme Court said where Article 31C comes, Article 14 goes out. So it is also an exception to right to equality, which is Article 14. So this is our right to equality. We have covered in detail equality before law, equal protection of law and rule of law. Now next move to Article 19 of our second article of Golden Triangle.